can't wait. Like, I travel more than anybody, probably in this room. I can't wait to start traveling and not worry about currency and hotel rooms. Yeah, because at one time we had a hotel room back, you remember? Like cockroaches came out of my bed in New York. Remember that? Horrible idea. So the next team we have lined up is one we've actually worked with for a really long time, and they're actually based out of our office. I actually never did well in school, but has anybody here worked in academia or research? Show of hands, like 4. Even if you haven't, this project will resonate with you. So Pluto is bringing visibility into one of the most centralized information services in the world, the academic journal. So research methods and evaluations have evolved, but we're still following antiquated processes and private committees. They are building the foundation that has the potential to change how we understand research publications and academia. Please welcome to the stage, Junseon.
Hello everyone, I'm Junseon, the founder of non-profit project Pluto Network. We are working on accelerating scientific progress by removing existing barriers in academia. In general, people consider academia or scholarly communication something like difficult. So even though there are many problems in academia, most people don't know much about them. So because of this, I will illustrate the issues in academia with a short story about a famous physicist. I'm sure everyone in here has heard about Peter Higgs. He has been considered one of the greatest scientists in the world and won the Nobel Prize in 2013. However, in an interview with The Guardian, he mentioned that due to his low productivity, he would fail to get an academic job at today's university. Let's think about this for a second. Does it make sense that Peter Higgs, a Nobel Prize winner, a renowned physicist who even has a particle named after him, would have trouble getting an academic job? This leads me to our discussion today. Why is the current academic ecosystem broken? In particular, what is the meaning of productivity in academia, and why is it ruining science? Generally, in today, scientists are judged by the number of publications in prestigious journals. This approach is flawed for 2 reasons. First, quantitative evaluation based on the number of publications has potential to cause many problems. Generally, academia considers a researcher productive when he has published a lot of papers. Second, qualitative evaluation based on journal metrics such as impact factor could also cause many problems. Basically, academia judges the reputation of the journal by their impact factor. Let's take a closer look at the 2 reasons. The number of publications cannot indicate the scientist's productivity. Surprisingly, Peter Higgs wrote only 26 papers, and Carrie Morris, another Nobel Prize winner, wrote only 30 papers in their whole career. However, the average science professor at MIT, who received the tenure in 2017, wrote more than 70 papers just over 8 years. The criteria with this data, the criteria indicated by this data would suggest that Peter Higgs and Carrie Morris would not find the tenure at today's MIT. This evaluation method is flawed. It makes the scientists just only focus on their publication, and it lowers the quality of each paper because scientists divide their research into many small papers to increase their productivity. Basically, academia uses the impact factor as a quality measure of individual study. the impact factor of any given journal can be described as the average number of citations for the paper that published in that journal in the past few years. This graph shows the distortions in impact factor. The x-axis is citation count, and the y-axis is the publication number in Nature and Science. There is no doubt that the average number of citation called impact factor is distorted by outliers. Most papers have their citation number much below the average. This evaluatory manner hinders scientific progress in many ways. First, as a scientist, it is much better publishing many papers rather than seeking one groundbreaking studies. This has made the research environment more competitive rather than cooperative. Basically, it is the author who receives all the reward and recognition from their research. Thus, some researchers intentionally omit their findings from their publications so that they can elaborate them in following publications. But perhaps the most serious problem is swaying in the research direction by non-researchers. Many journals have publishing policy to increase their impact factor. They tend to publish high impact paper regardless of the quality of paper or the importance of research. They never publish such as negative studies, confirmatory studies, or studies of non-popular field because they are not expected to be cited. Since scientists are judged only by their publication record, so as a scientist, they have to confirm the journal's publishing policy. To sustain their career, they have to conduct research on hot topics, publishing a lot of papers, and hide their research finding until it is published. While this evaluation index hinders scientific progress, the commercial academic publisher make a huge profit using this policy. It is so obvious that academic papers are written, reviewed, and consumed by researchers. But, however, all the profit and right arising from the paper belong to the publisher. It may surprise you that in the last year, elsewhere, the leading academic publisher recorded 1.5 times more operating profit compared to that of Netflix. In 2017, the operating profit of Netflix is around $1.3 billion. Many researchers have been criticizing publishers for exploiting their hard labor. But however, let's think about it. Could we really blame the publisher for slowing down academia? They just doing their best to maximize their profit because shareholders evaluate their performance based on that criteria. In fact, the problems in academia are strongly linked to its systematic structure. There are three stakeholders in today's academia: researchers, funding agencies, and publishers. Funding agencies decide which research will be funded based on the publication record, and publishers decide which research will be published. They have too much decision-making power over the entire ecosystem compared to their actual role. We try to solve this problem by making a new research ecosystem which is governed only by researchers. If there existed a new research ecosystem governed by researchers' consensus and supported by public sectors, the problem would be solved. I will briefly describe an ecosystem we envision. We will build a new research ecosystem on the blockchain network, and that covers all the potential transactions on scholarly communication. With a new academic publishing process, researchers could could share or publish their research in a fair and transparent and efficient way. The only cost they would incur is the rewards for the peer reviewers, which will be extremely lower the publishing cost in today's. And furthermore, this academic ecosystem promotes the collaboration among researchers and enables better resource allocations by researchers' consensus and help researchers conduct research on the things that really matter for the human knowledge. However, building a new research ecosystem is not a designing problem. Just simply designing and establishing ideal ecosystem cannot guarantee the stakeholders' participation in the real world. Pre-existing constraints, in our case, such as institutions' policy, authority, testing knowledge between researchers, are strong enough to limit researchers' participation in a new ecosystem. With the consideration of this pre-existing constraint, we construct our project roadmap like this. The fundamental design guideline our project roadmap is: first, we remove the possibility of damaging participants' career and then providing new features. According to this design guideline, we developed and operated academic search engine as a channel for us and the research community to communicate with each other. With sufficient traffic on Synapse, we have a plan to add a feature like pre-script review, post-script review, and academic publishing on Synapse. I'm really happy to introduce our product to you, Synapse, a free academic search engine. Finding proper paper for the academic study is always stressful. As a simple example, there exists a huge gap between abstract and the real content of the paper. With Synapse, we want to help researchers find the proper paper by providing rich data and comment from other researchers. This graph shows monthly active user on Synapse. The monthly active user grows dramatically, so it records more 200,000 users, monthly active users, just in 5 months. It is noticeable number because according to the report from the UNESCO, the total number of researchers in the world is expected to only 8 million. Over 80% of users are acquired by organic channel, and they are from more than 200 countries. To solve the problem we addressed, the support from researchers is essential. Thus, one of our major activity is spreading the idea of open science and building research community that will support us. We had 3 open science meetups in South Korea and have been presenting at many conferences and events globally. We communicate and discuss our solution with a famous open science advocate, including John Tennant and Peter Suber. Through Synapse, many researchers have given us feedback and suggested new ideas, and it makes us believe we are going in the right direction. As we wrap up, I'd like to introduce an anecdote. In the 17th century, the writers between Pascal and Fermat discovered the root of probability theory. Through the letter, they discussed how people share stake in a game that was interrupted and figured out what today is known as an expected value. However, Huygens, neither Fermat nor Pascal published the paper based on the letter. They didn't care about who is the author of the paper, they just simply satisfied with discussions and reasoning and exploring the principle of nature. On the other hand, today, it is tremendously important to see who is attributed as author of the paper. If there existed the collaboration with poor communication technology in the 17th century, it is quite ridiculous that there is no collaboration with developed communication technology in the 21st century. Many researchers already know that it is a big problem. In one of the feedback we received, he said that academic publishing is great frustration for me. How could we promote collaboration and progress in the right direction of academia with current technology? Internet technology and shareholders' capitalism brought an era of prosperity by dramatically reducing communication costs between two stakeholders. For example, I could sell my stuff on eBay without a physical store, or I could provide room accommodation through Airbnb. However, there still remain many problems in the world, such as dispute among countries, global pollution, and the problems in academia we've addressed. I think some characteristics of blockchain technology, like autonomy or openness, quite well fitted to solve those problems. Thus, I strongly believe that blockchain technology could solve the problem that could not be solved with a conventional business approach. Internet technology made the world more connected. However, I think blockchain technology could make the world or environment more collaborative. This is time to move from a connected environment to collaborative environment. But however, there is no collaboration without your contribution. Thus, we need your support. Let's join in the great renovation for the knowledge of humanity. Thank you.
Okay. Are we going to set up the chairs? All right, folks. So we're a little bit behind schedule. There'll be plenty of time for networking and drinks. Like literally, we booked out the entire bottom floor. So please stay seated if possible. If you absolutely have to go to the bathroom or grab a cookie or get some sugar, it's right out the door.